We'll call this meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Anson.
Here.
Trustee Doro.
Here.
Trustee Myers.
Here.
Trustee Landwehr.
Here.
Trustee Swenson.
Here.
Trustee Walschlager.
Here.
President Pfannerstill.
Here. You'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, if anybody'd like to make comments, public comments, for items that are not on the agenda. And there is no one that'd like to make public comments for items that are not on the agenda, so we will start with the agenda. The first item being a consideration of a motion to approve the village board minutes of the November 12th, 2018 meeting.
Awesome.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Comment. On page 4, item number 4, it's not carried 6-10. We need to change that.
Typo.
Okay.
I'll correct that.
I was gonna say, boy, that vote counts for a lot, huh?
Just a typo.
That was it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other? With that correction being made because it was a typo, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. Next item, we have a consideration of a motion to approve the vouchers for payments. This is in the amount of $183,603.27.
I move we pay the bills for $183,603.27.
Second.
What, did we run out of money or something?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Abstain.
That motion is carried. The next item on the agenda, we have consideration of actions that are related to the licenses and permits. This is a consideration of application for operators, bartenders licenses with a term ending June 30th, 2020. And that is for Christine Marie Grimstad. The police chief and village clerk have reviewed the license application listed above, and the responsible beverage service course was successfully completed.
I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. That license is granted. Next, we have Overlook Trails. First, we have an update on the Plan Commission review and recommendations and future considerations. So we'll take that first because the next two items that are relating to that are simply second readings of bills for ordinances. So let's do the update and then we will do the second readings.
So by way of update, the Plan Commission met on on the Overlook Trails project at their meeting last Monday. And as I included in the document or in the materials in the packet, made a number of final recommendations to the village board, some of which had conditions with them. They also adopted some findings, again, that had conditions in them or with them. You all saw on your table tonight a revised site plan for Overlook Trails that is reflective of the Plan Commission's conversations on Monday and primarily moves makes the adjustments to the paved paths that show along or generally parallel to Highway K and in other areas of the subdivision. Basically, the Plan Commission was talking about what paths would be paved and accessible to the public, and what paths, and more accurately, maintained year-round by the homeowners association, and then what paths would be wood chip trails or some other material, and not necessarily have to be maintained year-round. Additionally, as I mentioned, the Plan Commission did make its final recommendations on the annexation, recommended in favor of that, recommended finally on zoning for the property with the RS1 single-family residential district and the PUD overlay. So that's as included in the two ordinances that you have for second reading tonight. They had some conversation regarding the Upland Conservancy overlay, which will be generally in that northwesterly part of the subdivision and will follow a line that is descriptive of the current location of the natural resource area, but is reflective of the plan for development in the future. I did mention the findings that were made and the various conditions that went along with those findings. They have recommended approval of a site plan, which is basically the one you see in front of you, and it relates to, and their condition was related to changing the paths, which is reflective, as I said, in the one you have in front of you tonight. And they also made a recommendation for the preliminary condominium plat to reflect that plan as well. You saw a draft of the planned unit development agreement, which outlines a myriad of matters related to this subdivision, including all of the findings the Plan Commission has made, including various other pieces of information. It also includes the operative pieces of the approval for the subdivision, so 50 condominium units at maximum, the various types of zoning, the various types of relief from zoning that have been granted via the PUD ordinance or via the PUD process. It also provides all of the conditions related to construction of the subdivision, timing, security, all of those kinds of things. While you've seen a draft of that, that is not something that we're expecting you to deal with tonight or even on the 10th of December. That's something that we'll come back to in October, I almost said, in the first quarter of next year, after, assuming the village board moves this project to its next approval stage, after the developer has performed its final engineering, and we are able to include those documents as part of the planned unit development agreement, and ensure that that document, that is the PUD agreement, is reflective of those final engineering pieces. So, that having all been said, that's your update. Tonight, I would ask that you, and other than if you have any questions or items you want to ask the developer about, just provide for second reading of the two ordinances and move the process along to the next meeting.
I have a question as usual. At the Plan Commission, I apologize, I don't remember what the final decision was. You've got the stump, the road between the house 26 and 27. Remember how we said that the plow couldn't go down there? There was nowhere for the plow to turn around? Were we gonna take that out of there or leave it? I don't remember. Do you remember, Joe?
Oh, the stub road to the east.
Yeah, the stub road.
I think we're gonna leave the stub road, but the actual design would be up to the engineering, both our engineer and the village's engineers to decide if they want a hammerhead turnaround there, how, there needs to be some way for them to turn around.
Because there's no way the plow can turn around there, right? And they
No.
have to plow because that's where the driveways go.
Well, we could,
Correct.
we did offer that we could move the driveways off the main road if they chose to have us do that. It's honestly, it's up to the village engineers to tell us what they'd like us
At
to
what point
do.
does that get decided?
When we do final engineering, so that'll be
Okay.
one of those final things to take care of at that stage.
Can't they just back out after
I
the
don't
plow?
know. I don't drive a plow. I haven't done that in years, so I don't know.
Well, those cul-de-sacs, I got one down my street,
This is
and it's not the nicest thing, but
And then, just out of curiosity, I know that for the purpose of getting as density that you wanted in here, we called it a condominium development. But to me, in reality, it's just a single housing development, because we've already waived all the rules that go with, you know, setbacks and that. Is there a reason we're still calling it a condo development?
We're gonna have a condominium association run it like a condominium, so we're gonna
Okay.
have the services that a typical condominium would have, lawn care, snow removal.
Because I mean, it's really, they're single-family homes.
Yeah, I mean, they will look like single-family homes. I mean, when you drive through, it will feel much more
Yeah.
like a single-family neighborhood than it will a condominium neighborhood with, you know, multiple unit buildings, because they are homes at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we'll call them homes when we're marketing them,
I
but
did-
they're condominiums.
So you will be calling them homes?
I would think from a marketing standpoint, I think the builder partner of ours likes to market, whether it's a single-family duplex or fourplex, he likes to call them homes regardless, so.
But then when you have me as an owner, I come in, I'm buying a home, but I have to sign a condo association form. How do you slide that in?
Well,
If it says condos on Does that make it, I mean, legally?
No,
does that
I mean,
make a
it's
difference?
it's a condominium association, it's not technically a homeowners association. Those are nuances, these are legality
Or
items,
even
and
make
it's a
it
different,
To anybody who's buying. 'Cause
I would think it does, it's a different type of transfer of real estate. I mean, at the end of the day, when you get into the technicalities, the difference between a condominium plat and a subdivision plat, they are different.
Subdivision or condo?
There's a difference between a condominium plat and a
Right.
subdivision plat, it's a different process.
okay.
And truthfully, the transfer of land, again, this is getting a bit into the, kind of the technicalities of platting differences, but we're not actually, like, all of the land is owned by the condominium. And so the unit owners, the home owners in this case, but they're unit owners, they will own their unit, but they will not actually own the land itself. So it does function differently, and it will function,
Apartment, but I know what you're saying, but it's still its own unit. Okay.
yeah. So
Okay.
there's similarities to a single-family neighborhood. When you drive through it, I think you're gonna look at it and say, wow, this feels a lot like a single-family neighborhood. But all of the snow removal on the driveways and the sidewalks and the landscaping and that sort of stuff will all be maintained by the association, not by the homeowners.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, if you describe it that way, does that mean then that they're responsible, in a duplex, they're responsible inside?
Yep.
The outside's the condominium association. With this kind of layout, then I assume they're responsible for everything in that dwelling, roof, walls, everything.
Including the exterior in this case, that's a really
Yes.
good point. So normally you have shared exterior maintenance costs across the whole association, like for your roof, because it's a shared roof, and then the exterior of the unit is shared. In this case, because it's an individual unit, they will be responsible for not just the interior, but also the exterior maintenance of the structure itself.
It's their house, right?
It's
I mean,
their home,
basically,
yes.
that's what I-
It's their condo, and there's no need for sharing because
Yeah.
there's no shared walls, there's no, no shared infrastructure really.
So the condo worries about the land, plowing, mowing, that
Yep.
kind of thing.
I got a question. I've been in 3 different condos over about 12 or 13 years, and I was reading in here, it says developer shall also provide to install streetlights in the site according to the village utilizing of lights, and We Energy will install them and maintain them and everything. The thing that bothers me a little bit is following the installation of the streetlights by the developer and acceptance of the installation by the village with other infrastructure, operational and electrical expense should be paid by the village. Now, I have yet to live in a condo association where I didn't have to pay for the lights. And so I thought it were private roads to begin with, and they said, no, you're gonna have public roads. But now you're turning around and saying, we have to light the condominium association, we have to pay for the lights too?
It's only whatever the village ordinances are related to the streetlight requirements in the village. So if, in terms of a lamp post, like a lamp post in your front yard,
I'm talking about
That-
We Energy isn't putting in lampposts.
no, right, that's what I was gonna say, though, there's a distinction here. If we require, which we probably will, a lamp post in the front yard, like a lot of neighborhoods have, or condo associations, single-family neighborhoods, that's maintained by the owner of the property. We're only talking about whatever the village's requirements are. This is, I think it's just a standard form document that the village has here.
It's just
So we
standard
didn't
streetlights
input
that are
that.
lighting up your condominium association.
No, I think this is just, at least my understanding, at least most municipalities have a requirement at intersections, that
Well,
the
it's
intersections are
150
lit.
150 feet or something like that?
We have intersections and the ends of the cul-de-sacs.
Yeah,
So-
and
That's
it's,
essentially what it would be.
Cause you aren't gonna have
So,
streetlights
1,
running
2,
through
3,
that.
4.
No,
So
it'll
we're
be like
talking
the
about
newer
what?
ones that we developed, cause people didn't want the wires.
I would think whatever you did like in Windrush is probably the same standard that we're gonna, I don't know that for sure, Dave, but that's my guess, is it's whatever the village's requirements. That was not a request by us. As a matter of fact, for me, I'd prefer not to have street lighting. But if whatever the village's requirements are, we'll adhere
You
to
can have
those.
private roads.
No, but like
There's a lot more expense to that.
Oh, you
Like
didn't-
like Hartbrook was supposed to turn everybody was supposed to turn their lights on. Now this other subdivision we got, that automatically they go on and it goes on. You don't have to ask the homeowner to turn on his
Yeah, the
yard
photo
light.
cells.
It
Yep.
goes on.
Oh, yeah, you photo.
Because we ran into that with Hartbrook there, because somebody wouldn't do it. And then they came down to the board and it was up to the condo association to get the guy to turn his light on.
So we're gonna talk about 5 or 6 lights is all. So that's what we're talking about, right?
Maybe 7?
7? That's all? Anything over 7?
I don't think so.
Well, if you're talking about,
8.
yeah.
I guess 8.
Maybe 8 with the stub road.
Right.
So there will be street
But I
lights.
think what the answer was is that they're only putting in lights that are required. The only lights going in are ones that are lights that are required by the village.
Right.
And we picked what kind, like LED.
We Energy doesn't put
efficient.
We
LED
don't
in.
give that, they don't just lay it out and let us choose from a catalog. It's We Energy's the cheapest way possible.
Well, no.
We
And usually it's not.
So it would be a concrete pole, and because they're on the utilities will be underground, so it would be a concrete pole. It would have a Cobra head on it, and interestingly, they would do LED, but the tariff that they're allowed to charge us for the LED is higher than the tariff that they charge us for the standard high pressure sodium.
Right. Because high pressure sodium uses so much electricity, so they know they're gonna get their money from you, and if you're not gonna give them the money month over month, they're gonna take it from you on the front end when you go LED. But conserve.
We ought to talk to We Energy.
One way or another, they need the money.
Bottom line is, we'll do whatever the Village of We Energies
Yep.
tell us. We don't have a lot of choices in that one.
Could, Dave or somebody, could you explain Q to me about the ownership and tax liability of the open space?
Where are you looking at now?
On letter number Q, or
Oh, under the findings?
Q, it's right before,
Yeah, the
Yeah.
findings. So the, one of the findings is that that any open space that's on the property will be established, so you have to look at this in generic sense. When we're looking at a subdivision in a PUD or any kind of a PUD, any open space that's required on the property, we have to determine who's gonna own it and how it's going to be taxed.
can we put condo association?
So in this case, and that's why in this case, the condo association owns everything, and as you know, in a condo association, everybody pays a little bit of the value of all of the land on their tax bill.
I was just worried about the liability, now, it says tax liability, but I'm thinking liability of somebody getting hurt.
No, that's property tax liability.
Yeah.
That's what
Okay.
that means in that
Okay.
instance.
Just one question maybe for Dave on this too, is the trails, the paved trails will have a public access easement overlaying it. Does that, because I know you guys have done this in Hartland for a while, this is certainly not the first project you've done that with. Does that easement have language in it that protects the association or the owners of the association the same way that a municipal entity has protection if someone gets hurt? I mean, you've got liability limits that exist on your roads and on your sidewalks and all those sorts of things. Do you know, is that language in there?
I don't recall having seen that language in there.
Okay, it just might be something we wanna check on it, because when you mention the liability thing, that's a big deal when you encourage the public to use trails. If someone were to get hurt, especially given that it's along, Highway K, and there's grade, there's topography there, we just wanna make sure we have the same liability protection as a municipality would have if they were actually a public trail. But it's a minor detail, we just gotta make sure we have that in there.
That must have come up, but you know, I
I
don't
would think it
remember
has.
everything, because we've got these private trails all through the community.
Sometimes these things don't come up though until
Just somebody gets hurt.
yeah, we have miles of trails in Pabst Farms, Lake Country Village, and
Yeah.
it's the same deal. We're installing the trails. They're on private land owned by the landowners, the lot owners, yeah. And then we wanted to make sure we had that same protection. So I know on those trails, we made sure that we had that language put in there. Because I think the limitation on liability is like $50,000 or something for municipality. But for property owners, I don't think there is a
That's
limitation.
kind of interesting to find out who is liable, because that's never come up. I never thought of it until just now, because we got them all over, and
Hopefully, we never have to deal with it.
I do too.
But if we do, I want to make sure that clause is in there.
I don't want you to be in charge of that.
Well, and it wouldn't be us, it would be our landowners, but it would
Yeah.
be really unfortunate if something were to happen and no one would ever.
But when they write that up, that must be, if you give them the road, that must be the association, but we should probably check that,
We'll check it.
yeah.
We'll check it. And obviously, this will come up, continue to come up again, so there will be ongoing things that we'll have to deal with, so people can, and that you can email your questions also throughout, but,
In all that area where the woods are and that, like fallen tree, that belongs to the association. So if there's any cleanup or something, the association takes care of
Yes.
that. Okay.
Walk the lawn, lawn.
so that is, that's the update. Unless anybody has any other questions, we will move to the second reading. The next item on the agenda would be a second reading of a bill for an ordinance 10/22/2018-1, an ordinance annexing territory to the village of Hartland, Wisconsin pursuant to Wisconsin statute 66.0217, section 2. So what this second reading is the reading, the second reading of annexing that portion of land for the Glen and Overlook Trails, that 40 acres, into the village of Hartland from the town of Merton. The next reading, we have a second reading of a bill for an ordinance 10/22/2018-2, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the village of Hartland. And this reading, what it does is it changes what the zoning of that land will be, and that is to,
It becomes RS1, which is residential single family, with a PUD overlay on the entire parcel, and the northwest corner and a little bit along the north boundary have upland conservancy overlay on top of that as well.
correct.
Generally generally as the Exhibit A shows, which will likely be revised slightly for your final reading to be more reflective of the site plan.
So, the next item on the agenda is a consideration of a motion to confirm appointments that were made by the Business Improvement District for members on that board. These terms end December 31st, 2021. The appointments are Steve Berger. Steve Berger owns Beer Snobs. Jeff Pfannerstill, myself. I was originally on there continuing Mr. Lamoran's position on the board, and now am being put up for another term. And Jesse Puzak, which is the owner of Birch and Banyan. I will be abstaining from the vote simply because I'm one of the people that are on there. So, but with that, that's,
So move that we approve the nominees for the bid.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And I abstain. That motion passes. Those are confirmed appointments. Next, we have discussion of the DPW director interview process and determining board member involvement.
So this, as you know, is a rollover from last time, and in the interim, we had some more conversation upstairs and with the DPW folks, and kind of reviewed other processes that we've used in the past. And basically, for the interviewing process, I will recommend to the village board sort of a three-pronged approach. Management staff, the department heads, and probably the operations supervisors would do an initial interview with hopefully 5 or 6 candidates. Maybe winnow that group down a little if necessary, but otherwise pass them off to the village board on another date to do an interview with those candidates. And then from that feedback and input by the village board and the management staff, try to bring it down to 1 or 2 candidates that we would then introduce to the DPW labor staff and invite them to have a conversation with those individuals and provide their final feedback before there's a selection made.
That's a good idea. I think that, the other thing is, our park board, for Park and Rec now, he requested that the chairman be included in thing, because a lot of stuff goes on with the park, with the new director. So if that's all right with the board and with you, that he's informed that the chairman is part of the interviewing party.
Would the board want to add that individual to the board group?
I think it should be at the start, is the way I got
You
it.
think at the management level, at the management staff level?
Because he's quite interested, and he's been there for a long time, the chairman. I think it should come in when staff comes in. I don't think you're gonna have much conversation at that, whatever you think, but he wants to be on. He's got questions, he wants to,
Okay. I would encourage that individual, the chair of the park board, to be part of the village board group.
okay.
Yeah, I think it's important that he's part of it though. It being a he right now, if that changes and it becomes a she someday. But I think that it's important because they are affected by and work in tandem with, in many respects, obviously
Yeah,
the budget.
He does, and
Mhm.
he was quite interested in being part of that,
Yep,
so he can see who we're gonna get.
yeah. When we have the village board time, how many, how many candidates will there be when you bring it to that point?
Well, it really depends. If something really stands out, if you will, negatively at the department head level, I could see maybe we would cut somebody, but who knows? Maybe there won't be anything that substantial, and maybe we'll have 5 or 6 for you. That maybe there isn't a difference between the group that the management staff meets with and the group that the village board and the chair of the park board meets with.
But I think the whole board should be included when you come down to the
Oh,
two or
absolutely.
three.
And then from that, all of that feedback, then I think we take it down to 1 or 2 and invite those individuals to meet with the DPW staff and let the DPW staff get to know them a little bit, ask some questions perhaps, maybe a little bit of a formal environment, but then allow them after that to provide us their feedback and
Yeah,
what they think.
because they're the ones that gotta work with it mostly.
Yep.
Right.
And we should know when we see them on the street.
Yeah, no, I think that's important. I think that we have this one's gotta be hit right.
Yeah.
This one has to be hit right. It's gotta be a strong managerial candidate, so that's what we're praying for.
Okay.
Sounds good.
How's that coming along? When will that take effect? I mean, when do you think you're gonna?
Well, we have this week yet for resumes. We've got about a half a dozen
Oh, we do.
in at this point, so hopefully we'll get some more. I know that
By-
some of the DPW staff are out,
Yeah.
if you will, beating the bushes.
So by February or something, we should have a, maybe. if every-
I would certainly hope that that person is
Yeah.
here by then, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just tentatively, yeah.
So, before we move past this, is that all the board member involvement that you guys would like? If anybody has anything to say on that, I wanna make sure that 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from
Yeah.
now, you know, if we want more involved, now is the time to say it, so it doesn't get away from us.
Well, you know, if you have the whole board at the first thing, you've got 7 people asking questions and we should be down. to
Sure,
the
oh no,
three.
I'm just throwing it out now so it
Yeah.
doesn't, you know, I don't want
that's what
something,
I'm saying,
yeah,
you know.
all right. Well, good.
That's what we will do then.
At this time, we have announcements, and we have a couple of them. Hartland tree lighting is this coming Friday, November 30th, at 6 p.m., I believe. I don't have the exact time, yes? I don't have the exact time. It is this coming Friday.
It'll be dark.
November 30th, I believe it is at 6 p.m. Please check the village website, and that exact time is on there. The following Friday,
6 to 9.
December 6 to 9 is the tree lighting. There's a lot of things going on. Take a time to walk around downtown and make sure you're there to see the tree get lit, and have some fun, and enjoy some family time, or visit other people from the village.
Make sure you check the date.
No, the date's
You're not
right.
all downtown.
The following Friday, December 7th, is the holiday train in Hartland. That also is posted on the village website, and you can check on the details.
And that's estimated to be 5:45, but there's all sorts of activity beforehand and
Yep, there's a lot going on. We encourage you to bring as much non-perishable food as possible. The holiday train, there's a lot of people around the village, the chamber, and a lot of other people that put a lot of hard work into it. The police department provides people, the fire department provides people, the chamber works hard on this, and other people step up as well, but the entire goal of the holiday train is not just for people to listen to the good music that they put on and for Heartland to just have a great event, but it is to collect food for food pantries and the hungry all across the community and for the holiday train. And that's what the holiday train does across most of the Midwest. So please bring as much, pile it in. Bring as much as you can. Kids and other people will be going around with wheelbarrows and wagons and all kinds of stuff to help collect it.
I know it's a little late, but I wonder if we could get some transportation from downtown down there. You know what it is when you can't park down there. And then last time I went, I parked up by the Legion.
We do have some. We have,
Have you got some?
yes, Dousman Travel buses will be taking people through, bringing
That,
them.
I thought that'd be a good idea. I know, because
know more
like I
details?
said, I had to park at the Legion.
Ryan, do you want to give more details on that? Like where it's going to go?
I got an email from her today. They're gonna run a shuttle from Centennial Park to the old bowling alley on Hartbrook, down to downtown and do a loop.
Oh, that's good.
It might not start till 4:55,
Even-
because they may not have a bus till then, but the goal would be to get 1 or 2 bus loads of people. So,
That's good, because I thought of that last year, really.
and that would be free, and then again, they would run it after, but they're gonna have to have some kind of hard deadline of an hour after the train leaves or something like that, because they can't wait just for everybody, so. As we get more information, we'll get it, and we'll get it out to the media,
Publicized.
and get it on the website,
That's
so.
a good idea.
I'd like to mention again, too, the DPW did a beautiful job of making the train more accessible this year for viewing. The point of the tracks where the train's going to stop is a little bit farther down than last year to the west. The DPW cleaned it up beautifully, cut down a lot of brush, made it very accessible. The people that come to Heartland and the people in Heartland will be able to view the train very, very well this year. So I commend the DPW on what they did. Looks great.
For anybody that is paying attention, or is watching, I should say, all of the signs, if I'm not mistaken, all of our blue signs have been put up, our new blue signs that have a P on them, and it's an arrow. Obviously, the P is for parking and to direct people towards parking. I want the community to know, and we're going to keep pushing this out because we do have a lot of people that really try to pile in near Capitol. This isn't just during the holiday time when we have all these festivities going on, but it's ongoing throughout the year. There is a municipal lot behind the Senior Tomas Mexican restaurant, which is kind of north in the village. There is a municipal lot directly across to the west from the municipal building that we're having the meeting in here. It's also where our police department is. If you know where Hogger's Pub is, that is Pauling Avenue or Street. I believe it's Pauling Avenue, actually. There are 2 municipal lots that are there. There is a municipal lot that is, the Legion's lot is a municipal lot. You can always use that and park there. There may be, obviously, the library lot, which is to the east of the municipal building and south of the library. That is also open to public parking. The reason that I'm kind of stating that is because we have worked hard to let people know you're not going to be able to park at the front door, but we're going to make sure that there's parking and there is enough parking. So please take advantage of it and utilize it. Those lots are there. You can park in them. Cars can't be there for more than 24 hours in the same spot, but you can park in there all day long. That's what those lots are for. That's why we're making the investment to try to make sure everybody has a place to park. Now we're trying to let you know where those places are. So as you're driving, keep an eye out for them. You can park there. Please use them instead of illegally parking on Capitol if you have to. I literally saw 2 cars twice in the last week that were actually blocking driveways on Capitol. So it turns into, people really want to.
I think the
Get there.
parking signs are real good.
Yeah.
I don't notice much myself because I know where I'm going, I think, but they really stand out. I think that was a good,
I went down there by Munzenberger's. There's not a sign going westbound. They're pointing to the lot, down to the library lot. They're coming the other way, coming eastbound there is, but going westbound, right there about Haight, it's, there, I didn't see a sign.
Okay.
And, but the other ones, like Dick says, and Jeffrey said, I mean, those suckers stand out.
They
and
do,
it's-
they
do.
Yeah.
They're really
Yeah, they
nice.
look
but
great.
as I was driving down, I was noticing them. I said, well, where's this one? And I couldn't find
Right.
it. So if we
Okay.
could just check on that, I appreciate it.
Sure.
The other announcement I have is that Hartland Community Band plays their Christmas concert at Holy Hill at 3 p.m. on Sunday, December 2nd. So your weekend's going to get full here. You're going to come to Hartland on Friday, Friday, November 30th for the tree lighting and all the festivities that we have there. And then your Sunday's also going to be busy because Hartland Community Band is playing at Holy Hill on December 2nd. So that would be this next coming Sunday that is at 3 p.m.
Tell them to get there early, because it's crowded.
And get there early because I'm being told it gets very crowded. My last announcement is that the fire department 125th year anniversary is the 8th of December. So congratulations to our fire department for being 125 years old. Huh?
I am a fireman now.
Oh, good. I did not know that. I didn't know that. With that, I do not have any other announcements, but if you are out in the community and you have something that you need to call on, please call the village and let us know. Chief?
Just a reminder, our accreditation process our active process will come to a conclusion tomorrow. We have our public comment that can be done by phone between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. And the number is 262-563-4111. So I encourage anyone to call in for support of the police department and our effort to remain an accredited police department. That's all I got.
Thank you. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything for announcements? At this time, and in trying to be as transparent as possible, I think I'm okay to say this, but we are going to, we do have on the agenda that we're a consideration of a motion to recess to closed session pursuant to state statutes 19.85, 1E, deliberating of or negotiating for the purchase of public properties, investment of public funds, or conduct of other specified public business, whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require closed sessions regarding the police officer's collective bargaining agreement, and to adjourn thereafter without returning to open session pursuant to 19.85, Section 2. I think I'm okay to add this, and then I will ask for the roll call vote. It is not anticipated, nor will it happen. This is simply a closed session for discussion. Because it is the police officer's collective bargaining agreement, there is no vote that will be taken. This will be for us to receive an update, but that isn't done in public because it does affect, it needs to be done in private until it's completely rolled out, because it's a negotiation. That is the reason for it, trying to be as transparent as possible. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Trustee Anson. Trustee Duro.
Aye.
Trustee Myers.
Aye.
Trustee Landwehr.
Aye.
Trustee Swenson.
Aye.
Trustee Walshiger. President Pfannerstill.
Aye. That vote passes, so we will move at this time and take a couple minutes, and we will go into closed session. For those of you viewing, thanks for tuning in, and we will take a couple minutes and shut her down, and then we can talk about the bar.